Okay, we are live.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Don't I'm sitting here fancy football. I know the players that are still going to play this week.
And they both.
Let me scoot over. So,
That's not loud enough, but
well, I mean, this is your microphone.
listen, I don't know. So,
Get some people some time. Get into the room. You see the title: NFL Week 12 Corona Crisis. You gotta go outside. All right, there you go.
Hello.
You gotta come over here. They can't see you.
Hello. Hello there.
Yeah. So last time we did a live stream, we were talking about the NFL rescheduling the Ravens and Steelers game, and a lot has happened since then.
yeah, you know, the Ravens and Steelers are scheduled to play on
Tuesday
night.
Yeah.
Really don't think that's going to happen at this point. The Ravens just keep on testing positive. Today, or I guess yesterday, Matt Judon and Mark Andrews tested positive, so they're out as well. The Ravens don't have enough players to even field a team at this point.
Yeah.
So I really can't see that game going on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. 22 players so far. They haven't had a day where they haven't tested positive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that right there, to me, that's going to be a situation where, you know, the NFL looks at it and says, look, it's not safe, right? Because I think that's the main difference between, like, them getting the games pushed back than, like, you know, the Broncos. We're going to talk about the Broncos in a second. Their game not getting pushed back, right? Like, they didn't have any more positive tests. The Ravens every day are having positive tests. So it's just not a safe situation to put players in if you're still getting positive tests because you don't know who's out there playing.
Well, it's not about the safety. It's about whether or not they can sell it as being safe.
Right.
Because they every week, you know, they test players and staff members and they don't get the results back until after the game and they let them play anyway. Yeah. That's how it happens where, you know, players play in games and then, you know, end up on the COVID list the next day because they played after they tested positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Ravens game right now is still scheduled for Tuesday. They haven't canceled it yet. We think it's going to be canceled. But
yeah, as the Steelers have a few players on the COVID list as well. James Conner tested positive, and they had to put 3 or 4 other guys on the reserve list.
Mm-hmm.
So you know both teams are hurting at this point. But the Ravens, like I said, they don't even have enough players to put a team on the field realistically.
No, they don't. So that's that game. As I teased the Broncos a second ago. I mean, look, these are all things that you guys have probably heard about. So the Broncos, they're playing today without a starting quarterback.
Yes, I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah,
I am glad that one didn't get pushed back. They're going to be going with, they're saying Kendall Hinton, who was a practice squad wide receiver who played quarterback at Wake Forest as their starter this week. So I'm very anxious to see how that goes for an NFL team to roll out there on Sunday with no quarterback.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, the reason why they had to play and the Ravens don't, because I heard a lot of questions on Twitter about, you know, why do we have to play? Why do they have to play and you know, Ravens get to push their game back? Well, because they had one positive test as far as I know, right? Mm-hmm. It was a quarterback. However, the other 3 quarterbacks weren't wearing the mask around them. So they had to, you know, they were high risk players. So the NFL looks at that and says, all right, no more positive tests. We're just going to quarantine those guys and you got to play the game.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas the Ravens, every day they're having positive tests. So it's a situation like B said, they can't sell it as them being safe. Right. If every day they have a positive test, they don't know who might test positive the next day or who will test positive on game day. So right now it's Sunday. They're not scheduled to play until Tuesday. Right. If they can get through today and tomorrow without any more positive tests, maybe they still schedule the game. But I don't see it happening.
And with the Broncos, apparently the league sent out a memo prior to the season, and they said that we're not moving games if you get hit particularly hard in one position group. That's just going to be, that's part of it. Everybody has to deal with it. And apparently there are several teams who are using I can look wherever I want to look. I can look wherever I want to look.
You got to talk to the people.
But apparently several teams were quarantining a quarterback away from the rest of the team, in case there was a situation like this.
Yeah.
And the Broncos just weren't one of them. So it sucks to be you.
Yeah, pretty much. Real quick, sportscaster, yeah, baby. Thank you for joining the live stream. We got a few other people over there on Sportscaster. If you guys are new to the channel, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. That's Rodney. I'm Jose. It says Jose right there. It's also Rodney here. We're usually in two different places, but we're here today in the same area. So take a second, follow us, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Also, if you see right there, that little QR code, all right? If you want to drop a little super chat or you just want to drop a donation because you think we're awesome, go ahead and scan that QR code or just go to Cash App, LBHT Show, and drop a donation. Greatly appreciated. But also, like and subscribe. That is equally as important. So, yeah. So the Broncos are playing today. They're playing he's a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver on the practice squad, Kendall Hinton.
Okay,
used to play quarterback at Wake Forest.
And they're playing the Saints, who have a quarterback starting today in Taysom Hill. So that should be interesting. That's going to be fun to watch for sure. Yeah. But the Saints should be able to run away with that game. The next victim of COVID-19 are the 49ers. Mm-hmm. The 49ers, nobody says a positive right now. However, Santa Clara County had come out and said there's not going to be any sporting events in this county. So that affects the essentially Niners.
They're on the road today playing the Rams.
Yeah.
Their next two games are home games, and they are not allowed to play at home.
Right.
So I would assume at this point they're just going to travel to Washington and Buffalo for their next two games. But I mean, they're looking at their different options. They haven't officially said yet.
Right.
But they don't get their next two home games, basically.
Yeah. So, they got to figure out that situation and quickly, right? Because that's a quick turnaround. They're playing on the road this week, but they weren't expecting to have to travel the following week. So what the NFL does with that, who knows?
Yeah. Because I don't think they're even allowed to practice or anything. So they just can't go home. So even right after the game of the day, they have to figure out what they're doing.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. For sure. It's a quick turnaround. It's a mess. Who was the fourth team?
The Colts have, I think, 5 guys on the reserve list. They just put Jonathan Taylor on there. So, I mean, a lot of teams are hurting. A lot of teams are getting positive tests.
Yeah, well, we also got to mention, for the Steelers, right? And look, this isn't gloating, right? This isn't gloating. We don't joke around with this. In fact, if you listen to our last live stream, we said, players got to take this a lot more serious, right? Yeah. But this is an I told you so moment, right? We said it last time, for all the Steelers players, in particular, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Joe Hayden, Duck Hodges, right? They did a lot of chirping, on Twitter, pointing fingers and blaming players for getting infected.
I wouldn't call it chirping. They did a lot of crying. Whining, because players are getting infected and they didn't get to play the game on Thursday. You better be real thankful you didn't play that game on Thursday, right? And we said it. I said it at the time. It's going to happen to your team, right? Every team is going to have positive cases, right? That's just the way it is, whether it gets contained or not. Hey, you guys, whether it's a small containment and they're able to still play, or it's an outbreak like what you see with the Ravens, it's going to happen. And unfortunately, they had a couple of positive cases, and one of them being James Conner, who's a high risk player. Hey,
he's a high risk player because he's a cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very serious situation there, and it's nothing to joke about or laugh about. But it just goes to show you, like, don't think it can't happen to you. Right. And just because there's an outbreak and it messes up your schedule, you need to be thinking about the players who got infected and just say, hey, look, man, just get well soon.
Yeah, Vince Williams is the only one in Pittsburgh who had a reasonable take, which was, I don't really care about the scheduling. I just hope they all get healthy.
Yeah.
And, it's spread into the Steelers. A lot of teams around the league are having positive tests. There's not much that you can do about it. It's everywhere. And the reaction that Juju and Claypool and them had was it was just childish.
Yeah.
It was childish. And, it was in general the younger players on the team who had that reaction.
Yeah.
Because they want to get on prime time, and they want their big audience and all that, and they think they're fine.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, man, it's a game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're worried about getting some extra time off. I mean, you're going to get it anyway, right? I mean, you didn't play since last Sunday. The game got moved to Tuesday, so you got your time off.
Yeah.
All right. So stop crying. All right. And you're probably not going to play on Tuesday either. So now you're looking at extra week of rest and time off, and then you get to play the Washington football team. So relax.
Yeah. So generally what we do, prior to the games, we do a little preview game or preview videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about, the Panthers. We didn't actually get a chance to do our reaction video from last week. So I was just real quick put out there. The Panthers defense played outstanding. They shut out the Lions. Brian Burns is a bona fide star. Teddy played well. The O-line played pretty well. So, it was a great win all around. This week they've got the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are without Adam Thielen. He's on the reserve COVID list. Bridgewater is back. He actually missed last week. It was PJ Walker.
Yeah.
Bridgewater's back for his revenge game.
Yeah.
And it's really going to come down to them, that offense going out there and putting up some points, taking Dalvin Cook out of the game, and it should be another win for Carolina.
I agree.
As far as the Ravens and Steelers, the preview there is the game's probably not going to happen on Tuesday, but if it does, Pittsburgh should absolutely slaughter Baltimore, and if they don't, they should be embarrassed.
Well, look, I will say this. I'm not going to say it's going to be a slaughter, only because the Ravens beat them last year with RG3, right?
They had the rest of the roster, though.
Well, it was RG3 in the backups. It wasn't just RG3 and a bunch of stars. We were playing our backups against their starters, right? And still came out with the win. Now, Big Ben is here this time around, and that changes things a little bit. But, I would still think the Steelers would win. I wouldn't say a slaughter, though.
If they don't slaughter Baltimore, they should be embarrassed. Like, Baltimore doesn't even have a full NFL roster.
No.
Like,
but
a lot of starters and backups can't even play in this game.
There are a few. Let's be clear. There are a few players who could potentially play. They can get off the COVID list if they stay.
Yeah. If they keep testing positive or
negative,
excuse me. If they test negative for the next few days.
What up, Parker?
I think it's 6 people would come off that list. But right now, the Ravens have 3 defensive linemen and 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So
if it stays the way it is now, I mean, they couldn't play. But we'll see. We'll see. I think the NFL, their hope right now is that no more positive tests, right? And some of those players can come off the list and play. There's enough that'll be able to play and keep that schedule going, because the NFL really doesn't want to add another week to the schedule.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, if you thought Steelers fans were angry about the game moving, just let Baltimore's outbreak trigger the okay, we're going to add an extra playoff team and not make up the game, and Baltimore's in now.
Yeah, I would love it.
You'll never, ever hear the end of it.
All right, so we got a question from Parker.
Okay.
So does Lamar have a chance to play on Tuesday? No.
Lamar's out. Lamar and most of the players that you've heard about are just straight up out.
Yeah.
There's a few. I don't have the list in front of me. There's a few who have a chance to play on Tuesday because they were just
close contacts.
Yeah. But even that, that depends on them testing negative for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lamar is out for sure.
Lamar's out. He has a chance to play next Monday because they also pushed the Cowboys game back to the Monday night game.
Yeah.
So as long as he tests negative moving forward, he'll be back for the Monday night game. However, Mark Andrews probably won't play in that game, right? Because how many?
It's 10 days, I believe.
10 days, yeah.
If he tests positive, so he's probably going to miss both.
So
games.
he's going to miss that game. Matt Judon's going to miss that game because he tested positive as well. There's a few players that aren't going to play in that Monday night game as well.
Yeah.
So, that's a big blow.
Yeah,
that's a big blow.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hold on. Let me go over to Sportscaster.
Okay.
Terrible Alex, thank you for joining the live stream. Jimmy and the boys, thank you for joining the live stream. We appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, please take a second to hit the like and subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Sportscaster, hit that follow button.
Mm-hmm.
Also, right there, the QR code. Scan it.
Never find it.
Donate it. Look, man, I'm still getting used to it. All right. LBHT show. Hold on. What's Parker got to say here? Man, I'm pretty interested to seeing how the Broncos will do. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, unfortunately, that one's not on in our area. We have to catch clips on Red Zone and try to follow up on Game Pass. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how they look without an actual NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Look, I didn't think they're going to win the game anyway. Right. No. For being honest, I didn't think they're going to win the game anyway. But look, when stuff like this happens, it never goes as smoothly for the other team as you would think, right? Because now you're not prepared for what they're going to try to do, even if it's just Wildcat, right? Like everybody remembers when Wildcat really got introduced to the NFL. It was Sperano, right? When he was coaching the Jets or the Dolphins. The Dolphins.
Ronnie Brown.
Yeah, Ronnie Brown, and they beat the Patriots, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. It was, look, it seemed pretty basic, but that's not what the Patriots prepared for. And they just couldn't adjust.
But the difference here is Denver hasn't had an opportunity to prepare a different game plan either. They didn't know that they weren't going to have a quarterback.
Well, listen. What is better than having a completely unpredictable offense? Okay, when you don't even know what you're going to do when you go out there, how can the defense know what you're going to do? Right? If I were them, I would not limit it to just the wide receiver. I would have about 5 different people taking snaps, right? And it wouldn't just be runs. Like they're going to pass the ball, we're going to run, like we're going to do. Who knows? We're going to flip a coin and just do whatever.
Jerry Judy said he's going to get his Lamar Jackson on.
Von Miller
said he's Von Elway now.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
And he threw some nice little shade at quarterbacks too. He said his ankle's fine for playing quarterback. He don't need it. He's out. But, no, it should be a really interesting game. Obviously, going to be a loss for Denver, but just interesting to see something new in the league.
Yeah, look, game shouldn't be played this week. That's just the bottom line, and you see it in college too. Like we're not big fans of college, but like you're seeing it in college too. Too many teams or games are being canceled. You got Nick Saban who can't even coach his game this weekend. Mm-hmm. It's just too much going on. The NFL, football in general, like man, they are greedy. That's just all. It's just sheer greed, right? Mahomes or Brady today?
In terms of for fantasy, or
yeah, you talking about fantasy football? Or are you talking about just the game?
Mahomes.
Yeah,
it's Pat Mahomes every time.
Yeah, yeah. The Chiefs, they're favored to win every game. I think they're gonna play.
Yeah.
So and look, Tampa Bay, they got weapons for sure. Brady, I don't think Brady's playing bad, but he's not playing as great as people make it out to be this year. He just has a lot of weapons.
Right.
Now, to be fair, Mahomes got weapons too, for sure.
Yeah, and I say it's Mahomes every time because again, they've only lost 10 times with Pat Mahomes at quarterback. They've only scored under 23 points one time with Pat Mahomes as their starting quarterback, and that was when they didn't have Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
So if the Chiefs are healthy, it's Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. So, but no, the game should not be played today. Oh, he's asking about fantasy. For fantasy,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Pat.
Yeah. I can't think of a game where you wouldn't start Pat Mahomes.
Like I say, the only time you don't start Pat Mahomes is if all the weapons around him are hurt.
And they're playing a good defense.
Yeah. Otherwise, you start Pat.
Yeah. But no, but I get his question, right? Because they both have weapons. Like even Tom Brady isn't playing great. Like he puts up points, right?
Yeah, the fantasy box score doesn't care if it was an accurate pass or not.
Right. But I think who's playing better on defense now, Chiefs or Tampa? I know Tampa usually has a good defense.
That's the funny thing. Like, Tampa has a really good defense, and then they'll go out and get beat 38-3.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of can't tell week to week what you're going to get with Tampa Bay.
Just go with Mahomes, right? Because the thing is this: if Brady can have a bad game, he could throw a couple interceptions, and he can just be off one game. Mahomes, when he's off, you're still getting a couple touchdowns, right? You're still getting your 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Mahomes is a safe pick. And how did you get Mahomes and Brady on the same fantasy football team?
Because Brady is 41 years old.
Still, all right. But yeah, man. It's looking like they're going to have to instill a week 18, either a week 18 or they're going to have to
hit pause for a week.
Hit pause and, like they talked about before, just adding an 8th team to the playoffs, something like that. But you would say the Chiefs, but it's closer than people think. Oh, for the defense?
Yeah, the Chiefs defense, their run defense isn't particularly good, but they have a pretty good pass defense, and I wouldn't trust Brady against their secondary.
Yeah,
I mean, but like I said, Godwin, Evans, Antonio, Gronk. I mean, he could go off for sure.
Yeah,
but if I have the choice between those two, I'm taking Mahomes.
Yeah. So that's all we really wanted to go over, man. It's just a lot going on with the with these positive tests. Mm-hmm. It's a spike, and it's not even a surprise. I mean, a lot of these guys are traveling home for the holidays.
Yeah,
they're around family, and a lot of these people. Look, you got to remember, man. Like, there's a lot of players from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different political views, and not everybody takes what's going on serious. They don't take this pandemic seriously. Some people might even think it's a hoax.
Yeah.
Right. So they might follow protocol just because that's what, they're told to do, but they don't really believe it. So when they get home around their people and they're not practicing, the best practice, safe practices, they can easily be infected. And even if you're wearing a mask, right, if you're infected, the mask doesn't completely prevent it from transmitting, right? So if you're wearing a mask around other people and you have it, you still have a chance to infect them. Or if you're not wearing it properly, you see people always wearing the mask down below their nose. Sometimes they have it on their chin, right? Like, well, I got it on. Well, yeah, well, you're still breathing on everybody, right? Or you're breathing on something, and then they, people touch that and like they contract it that way. Like, I mean, there's all kinds of ways it can get transmitted. It's not safe to play football. They shouldn't have had a season to begin with, but you can't contain it like the NBA did because you're not playing in one place. The NBA was able to play in a bubble, right? So that was the fortunate thing about basketball. Every team can play on 1 or 2 courts. You can't do that for football, right? So even if everybody was following the rules, just the fact that you have to go around traveling, you can contract it everywhere. It just wasn't an ideal situation. But the NFL is determined to make their money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you want to say something else?
In case you were wondering, Jose was referring to Kirk Cousins when he said the people who wear their mask at work because it's their job and don't believe in it.
Well,
that's Kirk.
I'm also referring to the Ravens strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah,
right?
Well, but he didn't wear it at work, so he's not that guy.
Yeah, I'm referring to him too.
And I'm waiting for the time when we can stop calling him Ravens strength and conditioning coach.
He should have been fired.
He should have been fired already.
I think they're not firing him now because he's sick. Right, I think they probably wait. Yeah, I don't care either, but I think that's probably what it is. He'd have been gone.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tyrann Mathieu has really come on this year. Tyrann Mathieu's always been nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a big time playmaker.
Yeah.
And that's why. And if you've seen Brady play the last few weeks, I mean, anytime he's throwing longer than 10, 15 yards, he's just airmailing it.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all if the Chiefs pick off a couple of passes from Brady today.
Yeah, I won't be surprised either. Tampa Bay, look, I give them credit for throwing all the eggs in the basket and really going after it and trying to win. But I don't see them making it to the Super Bowl. All right. They're competitive, but you invested in the wrong quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if Jameis would have gotten you there, but I mean, I feel like with all the weapons that you put around that team, you've been just as competitive. But like you said, like we're still high on Cam. We think Cam would have probably been a better option than Tom Brady at this point.
Absolutely. Outside of a couple games right after he came back from COVID, he's been outstanding.
Yeah. So, but look, we'll see. That's why you play the games, right? Well, as long as they can. But my prediction is the season is going to get cut short. That's my prediction, and I think the NFL feels that way too. That's why they kind of flirted with that idea to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
And they said that a lot of coaches were really pushing for just a 2-week pause, earlier in the season, and just kind of shutting everything down, getting everybody in quarantine, making sure you have everything under control. And the NFL just said no, but they're barreling right back towards that.
All right, Parker. Hey, thanks for joining the live stream, man. We appreciate it. So like you said, a lot of teams wanted to hit pause on the season, and it's a money thing, right? Mm-hmm. They want to keep these contracts that they have. They have deals with these TV stations, and I'm sure these stations are holding them to it. Like they're not giving them any flex room because the NFL charges a premium rate for their stuff, and they want their money no matter what. So these stations are like, all right, well, we need you to show up no matter what, right? We don't care what's going on. You better figure it out. We're not giving you any flex room, right? So. Yeah, they're trying to make it work, but at the end of the day, man, this is a real thing. A pandemic doesn't care about your contracts, doesn't care about your TV deals, doesn't care about your business, right? It's going to spread, and if you're going to be out there playing and out in the public, you're helping it to spread. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but you wanna talk a little?
I would say, shout out to Mike Tyson who. For committed some elder abuse last night. 54-year-old Mike Tyson and 51-year-old Roy Jones Jr. went at it yesterday for 8 2-minute rounds. And Roy realized that they were in a charity fight, and Mike thought they were fighting.
Yeah. I was a little surprised, right? Like I expected a charity match, right? They said it's an exhibition, and when they, discussed the rules, no knockdowns allowed, no cuts or anything like that. I said, okay, they're just going to go out there and do some light sparring. But Mike Tyson, I mean, we knew this, right? I mean, you see the videos of him out there training. He took this fight a lot more seriously than Roy Jones. And he looked cut. Yeah. He looked sharp. From the opening bell, he had some spring in his step. Mm-hmm. He was bobbing. He was moving. Like he was ready to go. And I give him credit because I thought he wasn't going to have enough self-control to just take Roy Jones' head off. Because there's a couple times he could have easily just put him
a couple times being rounds 1 through 8. Like he could have taken Roy out anytime he wanted.
Anytime. And he carried Roy through those rounds because even after the first round, Roy Jones was gassed.
Yeah.
So Tyson just. He'll throw a jab, maybe like a little straight to the head, but you could tell he was kind of pulling his punches a little bit. Yeah. But the rest of the shots were to the body. Mm-hmm. The rest of the shots to the body, and they made it through the 8 rounds. Look, it was entertaining.
Boy, took him though. He took him.
He took.
Mike respects that.
Yeah,
Mike was so hyped after the fight in the interview. He wanted to go again.
Listen, Mike Tyson trained. He said after the fight, he trained. The rounds were only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He said he trained for 3-minute rounds. Right. Might look like he trained for 3-minute 12-round fights.
Yeah.
Right. And Roy Jones looked like he trained for a slap boxing match for about 3 rounds.
And I'll tell you why, because Mike Tyson isn't about charity boxing. He was training because he wants to come back.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make this just a real short live stream, about the games today and what's going on with COVID. So I think we're going to close it out with the first actual hot take in our show's history.
Okay.
And that is that Mike Tyson, if he wants it and they give it to him, he would take out Deontay Wilder in an actual heavyweight fight, knock him out.
Well, at this point, I mean, we got to see about Deontay Wilder, man. Deontay Wilder is kind of missing in action right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to get his belt back, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike Tyson just wants to.
I mean, if he has to get it back in the ring, he's not going to get it back.
Right. So we talked about it before about the heavyweight division. It's kind of weak, right? Now, Tyson Fury isn't like a complete, like, he's not a bum, right? He's got some boxing skill. So I don't know if Tyson, a 50-year-old Tyson, could beat Tyson Fury.
I'm not sure that he could beat Tyson Fury. He could knock out Anthony Joshua.
He could knock out Anthony Joshua.
And that's just because that's not that he's, Joshua doesn't have skill or anything, but he doesn't have a great chin. And I don't think that he could go 12 rounds without Mike hitting him on the chin.
Yeah, he's just too timid. That's the whole thing. He's too timid. I mean, he should have never lost to Andy Ruiz, right? So it depends on the opportunity, right? The right opportunity, I can see Tyson, fighting for a belt. Right, I don't think he just wants to get in there and fight a young guy just because.
Well, but it wouldn't be just because of Wilder. Wilder's called him out basically, and said that he's better than Mike ever was, and he's stronger than Mike, and he would beat prime Mike Tyson and everything. So he might be interested in going in there and showing him what he doesn't know.
Yeah, either way, Mike looks ready. But yeah, like we said, man, we want to keep it short. I mean, we've already been going for 30 minutes. This is but a lot shorter than last week.
Yeah.
And if you're new, like we said, hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to be putting out some more videos and podcasts here pretty soon. We talk a lot of Ravens and Panthers on our channel. Well, like you just saw, we do boxing, UFC, NBA, all that good stuff. So if you're a fan of sports, check us out. Let me check over at Sportscaster. Yeah, I got a few more people in there. If you're just joining, we're about to hop off, but just hit the follow button. We're going to be doing more live streams and videos and all that. So thank you for watching and enjoy the games today. Catch you later. Peace out.